Hello and welcome to this new video in which we are going to look at how to solve maths puzzles without guessing. Now there's an example of this genre of puzzle on screen. It can take various forms, but you essentially have various different symbols and then you're given the sum total of those symbols at the end of rows or columns, and you have to work out what the values of the different symbols are. So in this example we have apples, bananas and cherries, ABC. And so on the first row, we have one apple, two bananas, and a cherry, and we see that they sum up to 59. On the second row, we have two cherries and two bananas, summing to 72. And in the first column, we have two apples, a cherry, and a banana, summing up to 54. And we're invited to work out what the values of the other rows and columns are, which have a question mark at the end of them. Now, there's a couple of ways of solving these puzzles. The first is simply to guess values and plug them in. This is the way that many people try to solve this puzzle type, and there's nothing wrong with it, but sometimes it can take a long time to get the correct combination of values. But it's also possible to solve a puzzle like this using maths, and we'll show you how to do that in this video. So the first thing to do is to create a series of equations that we will then use to work out the values of the apple, the banana and the cherry, and they are based on their sums given. One apple plus two bananas plus one cherry equals 59, two bananas plus two cherries equals 72, and two apples plus one banana plus one cherry equals 54. Or we might just like to express them with a plus 2b plus c equals 59, 2b plus 2c equals 72, and 2a plus b plus c equals 54. Okay, so we now have our three equations displayed on screen, 1, 2, and 3, and all we have to do is solve them. So the method that we're going to use to solve these is to remove any reference to the apple from equations 2 and 3, and that will then just give us sums that contain bananas and cherries, and then we'll do the same trick with equation 3, removing the references to bananas based on equation 2, and that will then give us a total sum that just uses cherries. And then obviously we'll be able to work out the value of a cherry and then plug that back in to the equations in order to work out the values of the banana and the apple. So the first one is very straightforward because, as it happens with this particular puzzle, there is no reference to an apple in equation 2. So we already simply have two bananas plus two cherries equals 72. So what we'll do instead is to remove the reference to the apples from equation 3. And the way to do this is as follows. So if you look at equation 1, you can see it's got one apple, and equation 3 has got two apples. And we clearly want to do it so that when we add them together, we remove any reference to apples. So what we do is we multiply equation 1 by minus 2, and that's simply so that we end up with two apples minus two apples. So you currently have one apple in equation 1. So if you multiply it by 2, then clearly you have two apples. And if you multiply it by minus 2, you have minus two apples. And two apples plus minus two apples is 0 apples. So that's the logic. So we multiply equation 1 through by minus 2, and that gives us minus 2 apples, minus 4 bananas, minus 2 cherries equals minus 118. So it's a very simple method. You simply multiply each element of the equation through by minus 2. So that gives you, as I say, minus 2 apples, minus 4 bananas, minus 2 cherries equals minus 118. And then we simply add that together to equation 3. So we're adding together 2 apples minus 2 apples. That removes the reference to apples. That's what we wanted to do. Now we have one banana in equation 3, and we're taking away minus 4 bananas. So 1 minus 4 is minus 3. So we have minus 3 bananas. And we have one cherry, and we're taking with 2. So that gives us minus 1 cherry. So equation 3 becomes minus 3 bananas minus 1 cherry equals minus 64. And the key thing to note here is that we've now removed any reference to apples from equation 3. And now we simply repeat the process to remove bananas. So in equation 2, we have 2 bananas plus 2 cherries equals 72. So in order to get to 3 bananas, which is what we need to add to minus 3 bananas, to cancel them out, we simply need to multiply equation 2 through by 1.5. And that's just because to turn 2 into 3, you multiply by 1.5. So we multiply through 2 bananas plus 2 cherries equals 72 by 1.5. And that gives us 3 bananas plus 3 cherries equals 72 times 1.5, which is 108. And then finally, we simply add these two equations together. So we have 3b and minus 3b. That gives us 0b. So we've removed the reference to bananas. And then we have the 3 cherries minus a cherry. So that gives us 2 cherries. And then we have 108 minus 64, which is 44. So we've turned equation 3 into 2 cherries equals 44. And we've done that by first removing the references to an apple using the first equation and then removing the reference to the banana in equation 2. And so now that we know that 2 cherries equals 44, then it's very straightforward to solve the rest of the puzzle. So we know that 2 cherries is 44, therefore 1 cherry is half of 44, which is 22. And now we can plug that value into equation 2. So 2 bananas plus 2 cherries, 44, equals 72. So 2 bananas equals 72 minus 44. And therefore 2 bananas equals 28. And 1 banana is half of 28, which is 14. And now we can plug those values into the top equation. The apple plus 2 bananas plus 1 cherry equals 59. And we see that 2 bananas, so that's 28, plus the cherry, that's 22, plus an apple equals 59. And so we simply subtract those two values from 59, and we find out that the value of an apple is 9. So we have an apple is 9, a banana is 14, and the cherry is 22. And you can put those values back into the 3 equations just to confirm that the answers are correct. So in the top equation, apple plus 2 bananas plus cherry equals 59. That's going to be 9 plus 28 plus 22. That does equals 59. In the second equation, we'll have 28 plus 44 equals 72. And in the final equation, we will have 18 plus 14 plus 22 equals 54. Okay, that's it. Hope you found that video useful. And you can now use those values if you so wish to actually finish the puzzle and work out which values replace the question marks. So the method is fairly straightforward. It just takes a bit of getting used to, and you essentially use the fact you've got several different equations to eliminate the values from the latter equations so that you're then left with just one value, which you can then plug back in to other equations and work out what the, in this case, apple and banana are worth, but obviously it could be different objects in different puzzles. You're really just creating 3 algebraic equations in this instance and solving them all to work out the values. If you enjoyed this video, then please do subscribe to our channel. It's free and easy to do so. Simply click the subscribe button underneath this video, and if you do so, then it will make it easier for you to receive notifications when we release new content, and it also helps encourage us to produce more content. And if there's any videos that you'd like to see, then again, please do just let us know in the comments. We're always grateful for any feedback or ideas that you have. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.